Republican Congress members did not see this coming. Democratic members of Congress were ready to fight and to call out the MAGA Republican hypocrisy in the House of Representatives, where, being led by MAGA Mike, these MAGA Republicans in the House are nothing more than Donald Trump's stooges, and they are working with Donald Trump to cover up a child sex pedo trafficking ring and cover up the Epstein files, cover up all of Donald Trump's criminality, and put our country into the authoritarian state that it is today. Democratic Congress member Jared Moskowitz came ready to fight, and he called out the MAGA Republicans for so foolishly denying and lying and saying, oh, that Donald Trump's signature was not on the birthday card to Jeffrey Epstein, that it was some massive forgery. So Moskowitz says, well, why don't we appoint James Comer and we could retain a handwriting expert and we'll find out who forged that signature, because it's a pretty big deal that someone 20 years ago knew how to go back into the future and create a forgery, knowing Trump would switch from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party and then become a president. And then they figured out how to slip it into the Epstein birthday book when Trump was close friends with Epstein and said he was a great guy, when all of the other letters in the book were sent by the people in that birthday book. Moskowitz says it better than me. Watch Moskowitz in action. Let's play it.
I'm here to defend him as by far the best investigator of all time in the Capitol, which is exactly why all of his investigations, which have used, Chinese informants that were prosecuted and Russian disinformation, people from prison. I mean, the main thing he was tasked with last year, right, which was the Biden impeachment, that we had a vote. Oh no, we never had a vote on that because, of course, he didn't find any evidence. So this morning, our close personal friend, Mr. Comer, said that he was not going to look into the letter or the doodle, the president's doodle. He's a decent doodler, by the way. So he wasn't going to look into whether the signature was a forgery, and I'm concerned about that because this is the president of the United States. If there are forgeries or forgers out there, I think we should investigate it. And in fact, this document is 22 years old. So you're telling me someone 22 years ago went back to the future and forged his signature when he was a Democrat. And somehow this person was Nostradamus, knew he would become a Republican, become president 22 years later. So listen, I submit to you that we can solve this problem for the American people. You don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to take our dear personal friend, Mr. Comer's word for it. Let's bring in a signature expert. You guys pick the witnesses. Bring in your signature experts, swear them under oath, and let's have the signature examined. Is it his or it is not his? We don't have to play games or the president says it's not his, we say it's him. No, let's bring in a signature expert, a referee, because we can't agree on anything, even when it's right in our face, of whether that is indeed the president's signature, or if it's a forgery, we should immediately open up an investigation into this forgery.
Then you had Democratic Congresswoman Jacobs from San Diego. She called out MAGA's obsession with gender-affirming care, that's all they talk about, gender-affirming care. And Congresswoman Jacobs says a lot of people in Congress do gender-affirming care. If you've done Botox, or if you've done boob jobs, or if you've done any other type of surgeries like that, that's gender-affirming care. To which Nancy Mace, for reasons that you may want to speculate one way or the other, I don't know, she gets livid and she starts to scream at Democratic Congresswoman Jacobs. Watch this.
I would just like to point out that I think it's very interesting that my colleague from South Carolina is so obsessed with the issue of trans people, using horrible slurs to talk about them, when many people in this body have received gender-affirming care. Filler is gender-affirming care. Boob jobs is gender-affirming care. Botox is gender-affirming care. Lots of my colleagues have received gender affirming care. And let me be clear, I think everyone should have access to the gender affirming care that they need. And I think we should respect everybody in this country. With that, I yield back.
Ridiculous. You are absolutely ridiculous.
Lady is not recognized. Order. The House will be in order. The gentlelady and the gentleman will suspend. The House will be in order.
Okay, I got to show you this one also. Democratic Congress member Jared Moskowitz on Mike Johnson saying that Donald Trump was an FBI informant who busted Jeffrey Epstein back in 2007, 2008, and Trump was the hero informant. And Moskowitz says, you know, you're the Speaker of the House. That's a pretty big position. You're the number 3 in line to the presidency, and you are just saying that Donald Trump was an FBI informant, and then you say you misspoke? How would you misspeak? What word did you mean to say versus informant? Undercover op? What did you mean to say? Here, play this clip of Moskowitz.
You know, just following up on a little bit of what the ranking member was discussing, there was a significant event this week in which this committee has jurisdiction over. The Speaker of the House, the 3rd highest ranking U.S. official, 3rd in line to be the president, looked into the TV cameras and told us that the current president of the United States was an FBI informant. I consider that to be gigantic news. And I'm just curious, have we reached out to the FBI, to Kash Patel, to confirm whether the president was at any time an FBI informant? I only say that because the Speaker of the House obviously gets significant briefings. He gets briefings that we do not get as regular members. And so I think this is something that we need to hear definitively. Before Kash Patel comes, we should clear up. Maybe that we should send a letter to him to find out if the president was an informant. And if he was an informant, is that because he was working with the FBI after he was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein? Did he turn because he got caught with Jeffrey Epstein? You know, when you're an FBI informant, there are lots of questions about how you became an FBI informant. And then how long was he an FBI informant? When did his service to the FBI stop? You know, being a member of the deep state, when did he stop doing that? I mean, look, if a regular member had said this, I would discount it. But the Speaker of the House is the one who said it. And then he said afterwards, well, I may have misspoke. Well, what was his misspeak? Instead of informant, did he mean agent? I mean, what is the misspeak for informant? I mean, I don't know another word that we use when we're describing an FBI agent or FBI informant or undercover. I mean, what was the misspeak here? And if he was lying then, is he lying now? I'm just confused. Perhaps maybe the Speaker should come to our committee and tell us what he meant when he said that. It's just...
Point of order.
I'm still speaking.
Mr. Chairman?
I'm still speaking.
Is there a bill or an amendment on the floor?
I strike the last word. I'm allowed to finish my...
Then we have Congress member Frost, I think, just completely exposing this MAGA Republican charade right here, and particularly Congress member Higgins, radical MAGA guy, and Congress member Frost is like, okay, so I'm just trying to understand this. Why wouldn't you then take the National Guard into your state? You have much higher crime than these blue cities and blue state. Why don't you do the National Guard? To which Higgins goes, that's my state. That's mine. That's mine. And then Frost is like, yeah, you're just a lapdog for Donald Trump. Can you admit that? And then Higgins is like, take his words down. Take his words down. He's attacked me personally. Here, play this clip.
No, I just have a question for my colleague from the state of Louisiana, because I'm curious as to where your bill is. Louisiana is the state with the 2nd highest rate of deaths in this nation. You are more likely to be shot standing on a random street in your state than you are in Washington, D.C. So my question is, where's your bill for the occupation of the state of Louisiana to keep your people safe, if you're at all sincere in this?
Gentlemen, yield for an answer.
I yield for an answer.
I support state rights. I'm a constitutionalist.
But not DC?
Stand by. As a constitutionalist, I support my state, my sovereign state's legislature, which is doing everything it can to push back upon the crime rate of the Democrat-controlled cities.
Okay,
of
so
New Orleans,
I'll take my time back. I'll take my time back.
If you remove
That's the
the
rules.
crime stats
That's the
of New
rules.
Orleans,
I'll take my time back.
Louisiana,
I'll take my time back. So you only invoke the rules
In the
when
country.
other people are speaking, not when you're speaking. Okay.
That's your time.
I agree with you. Look, I'm for state sovereignty. So what do you think about California?
California is not where I live. You asked me about my state. I'm
See,
telling
you only care, and I'll reclaim my time. I'll reclaim my time. I'll reclaim my time. I'll reclaim my time. I will reclaim my time. The gentleman will stop speaking. I will reclaim my time. You're more likely to be shot standing in a random street in your state,
This is Mr. Frost time, Mr. Chairman.
than anywhere in
Frost time.
Washington, D.C., and you're here because you're lapdogs to the President of the United States, who during the election last year, we said time and time again, I reclaim my time.
Down, Mr. Chairman.
All right, hold on.
My colleague just called me a lapdog for the President of the United States. I move for his words to be taken down.
A second.
We'll stand in recess for a second here. We will suspend to see about taking the words down.
Did you know that the liver is the second largest organ in your body? It's responsible for over 500 functions in your body, but for some reason, liver health doesn't always get the attention that it deserves. Dose for Your Liver was formulated to cleanse your liver of unwanted elements, aid digestion, and maintain your body's filter. Why does this matter? Well, your liver is the second largest organ in your body and is responsible for over 500 functions in your body. It acts as your body's filter, flushing out unwanted elements and breaking down what you consume into essential nutrients. The liver produces and regulates cholesterol, stores vitamins and minerals, and impacts digestive and metabolic health, amongst many other things. Dose's science-backed formula promotes liver function, aids digestion, eases bloating, and even boosts energy levels. Clinical results. In a double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial, Dose for Your Liver lowered liver enzyme levels by 50% in over 86% of participants. Stick with Dose and feel the incredible benefits over time with more energy, better digestion, reduced bloating, healthier liver enzyme function, reduction of brain fog, and better sleep. One Dose for Your Liver shot is equivalent to 17 shots of turmeric juice. Dose is gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, and vegan. Save 30% on your first month of subscription by going to dosedaily.co/Meidas or entering Meidas at checkout. That's dosedaily.co/Meidas for 30% off your first month subscription.
Then you had Nancy Mace outside the Capitol building. What she was doing is what we saw all the MAGA extremists do yesterday without even knowing who the shooter was, without knowing what happened. The same thing they did in Butler, Pennsylvania, where it turned out it was a MAGA guy, a Trump supporter, was the a person who did the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. But they said, oh, it's Democrats did it. But it was a Republican. So you have all these Republicans, and Donald Trump gave a speech from the Oval Office too. And here's Nancy Mace saying the Democrats did this. It's their fault. Did what? What do you mean it's their fault? What are you talking about? And what a heinous thing to just make up like that. So then I got to give credit to reporter Ryan Nobles. He goes, okay, so in that case, the Republican who killed the former Speaker of the House in Minnesota and her husband, was that right there are Republicans to blame? And she's like, we're not talking about that. We're just talking about what I want to talk about. Seriously, Nancy? Seriously? Here, play this clip.
I'm going to say this. Democrats own what happened today. I am devastated. My kids have called panicking. All the kids of every conservative in the country called panicking. Just because you speak your mind on an issue doesn't mean you get shot.
Then by that logic, do Republicans own the shooting of the two Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota?
Political.
Isn't this on both sides?
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm asking.
We don't know what condition Charlie Kirk is in right now. Some raging leftist lunatic put a bullet through his neck, and you want to talk about Republicans right now? No.
No, I'm asking
not
you.
at all.
You said the Democrats have donated to, but I'm asking,
Democrats own this.
But isn't there a problem with
this.
political violence across the spectrum?
Yeah, we're talking about Charlie Kirk right now. That's the subject of this that we're talking about right now. Democrats own this 100%.
Then speaking of seriously moments, you have Lauren Boebert right here complaining that there were National Guard around the Capitol building after the January 6th insurrection, even though they were not sent to stop the insurrection, but afterwards, and she complains about that. Here, play this clip.
And as far as having an issue, taking issue with the National Guard having a temporary presence to get your city, this city, our nation's beautiful capital under control and safe, I didn't hear any problems from Washington, D.C. residents or my colleagues on the other side of the aisle when 20,000 National Guards came in and surrounded the Capitol building and prohibited your First Amendment rights to petition your government with your grievances. I didn't see an uprising there. We weren't happy about the fences and the hundreds of miles of barbed wire surrounding our nation's capital and armed National Guard, tens of thousands of them, keeping you out of the people's house. But now they're here to help and keep you safe. And that's somehow an issue.
I'm still trying to remember, like, who was in office still when January 6th took place? Like, who was still there? Whose FBI was it that worked there? Whose National Guard? Who was there? I forget it was Donald Trump. Oh, got it. Congressmember Frost spitting facts here again. Let's play it.
Oh, so we're going to move forward. So you'll work at opposing the president's request.
I know how the system works, and I know that it requires 60 votes in the Senate to change government funding, and we're not going to get 60 votes to do anything. So we're going to have a CR. But again, how are you going to help the 5,600 people? You say that this
I'll reclaim my time. How are we going to help them? By fighting to ensure that the president and your party doesn't further erode the little services that we have in this country. We need housing, not handcuffs. We have a housing crisis in this country. Every time the rent goes up $100, homelessness goes up 9%. Let me say it one more time. Every time the rent goes up $100, homelessness goes up 9%. Homelessness is a housing problem. And you have no solutions for us here. You're talking about, again, trying to hide a problem rather than fix a problem. It is both cheaper and less challenging for us as a nation to keep people housed than, yes, to help them when they're on the streets. We need to help people when they're on the streets, but we need to fund rental assistance, transitional housing, permanent supporter housing, shelters, all this suite of services that help us keep our people on top of a certain line, because it does cost more and it is harder, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't do it.
Will
And the president that you follow and that you are lauding wants to make a historic cut to the few services that we have so we can keep people from off the streets. And I think it's despicable. And you come here and try to act like there's a problem with us because we have a problem with you working to criminalize homelessness. People see beyond that.
It's already criminal. The DC city police are not enforcing it. So what do you want us to do?
The tool you want to give federal law enforcement is allow them to go and arrest people who are sleeping on the streets because they have nowhere else to sleep. We shouldn't be criminalizing homeless people for the failures of government. Let's step up. Let's try to work together and ensure that we eradicate homelessness and fix this housing crisis. I yield back.
Congressmember Eric Swalwell, let's play it.
I don't understand the logic here that because you think the Democrats did nothing on the Epstein files in the Biden administration, that to own the libs, you now have license to leave sexual assault victims unprotected. It's just crazy that you hate the Democrats so much that you would let the most notorious child sex trafficker and the people connected to him not be held accountable because you want to own the libs. Let's just take you at your word. Okay, the Democrats did nothing. So you're going to do nothing is what you were telling me. The Democrats, of course, did not do nothing.
Congressmember Goldman, let's play it.
Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. So now all of a sudden, the Republicans who were so aggressively intent on releasing the Epstein files because they were going to be a huge explosive story about Democrats involved with Jeffrey Epstein are quiet. So the irony of these Republicans accusing the Democrats now of only being interested in this is for political purposes is so thick that it is almost sucking us into the quicksand. But let's go a step further. Because now the cover-up is getting so deep and so intense that this committee, which has oversight over the Department of Justice and would ordinarily be the one that is doing this investigation, is running away from it. Why? Because Chairman Comer is the useful idiot who will do the cover-up for Donald Trump. And what does that mean? Oh, well, now there is an oversight investigation, but you know what they're not asking for?
Those kind of comments, and he knows that. Gentleman's recognized.
Now, the Oversight Committee is doing an investigation, but you know what they're not asking for? You know what you did not put in the rule to confirm that investigation? We're not asking for the documents that were used to open the investigation, who provided the information. They're not asking for witness statements, victim witness statements. They're not asking for recordings that may exist. They're not asking for any of the evidence that might include Donald Trump. And rather than acknowledge that you're just trying to cover up for Donald Trump's knowledge and involvement in the Jeffrey Epstein scheme, you're trying to accuse us of being interested.
Congresswoman Ansari, let's play it.
How can the Trump administration literally steal $1 billion from DC without any justification or resource? Imagine if this were Phoenix or Los Angeles or Las Vegas or Dallas. I'm the former vice mayor of Phoenix, Arizona, the 5th largest city in the country. And I can tell you that a $1 billion withholding of budget from a city government has massive implications. It should be no different for Washington, D.C. While this is the city's capital, it is also home to hundreds of thousands of hardworking people. What might actually have an impact on keeping people safe and healthy in our nation's capital? That would be the $1 billion of withheld funding for critical programs that keep this city running. Funds that are DC's, not the federal government's money. But Donald Trump obviously believes that this city is his personal playground. He has deployed the U.S. military to its streets because he wants to feel powerful, because he is a dictator. And he wants to deflect from the fact that the biggest criminal in this city is himself, sitting and occupying the White House at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. My colleagues have mentioned DC's crime rate is at a 30-year low. So what does Trump have our nation's service members, many of whom who've been taken from their jobs, from their families as reservists, what are they doing here in Washington, D.C.? He has them picking up trash, sitting around bored, directing traffic. I've seen this firsthand with my own eyes. It's been mentioned. The way it sounds from my colleagues, they're more worried about their own personal safety here. I can tell you I feel very safe here, walking around my Navy Yard neighborhood. But our president is more interested in photo ops and seeming like a tough strongman than he is about spending government resources on the programs and policies that keep us safe, whether that's investing in counter narcotics programs or the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. He has literally redirected counterterrorism and human trafficking resources away from their intended purpose and toward non-violent immigration offenses.
And Senator Ruben Gallego, powerful words. He's a military veteran, and he is pissed that Ashley Babbitt, an insurrectionist, is going to be given full honors in a funeral when she was an insurrectionist. He's like, she's a traitor. Is what he says. Here, play this clip.
Today, we had a chance to stand with the brave men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice for this country in uniform. Ashley Babbitt is not that. She is a traitor. She will be a traitor. And she died a traitor. And let the halls remember that here. My colleague from across the aisle refused to do that. Instead, he stands with the traitors of January 6th. He's trying to say that an insurrectionist who broke into the Capitol with a knife deserves the same honor as the men and women who gave their lives for this country on the battlefield. It doesn't matter how many times she went. It doesn't matter how many times she was deployed. Benedict Arnold was one of the best generals we had until he betrayed us during the American Revolutionary War. He was still a traitor. Ashley Babbitt is a traitor. Ashley Babbitt's actions on January 6th are about as dishonorable as it gets. Giving her honors undermines the Constitution, and it undermines the real sacrifice of millions of veterans who defend our country. My colleague just set a dangerous precedent today. He is standing with the traitors of January 6th. You do not deserve that, America. The veterans of this country do not deserve that.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers, and thanks for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.